So this is part 2 of the Yz80 engine teardown and rebuild. So we're going to start stripping the bottom end down now. Let's get the kickstart off first. Then we'll get the water pump casing off. Come off funny that, with the end of the thread as well. Check the threads are all right in there. I'll get the screwdriver of that one. Bolts together. That's the water pump gasket, water pump casing, a couple of gaskets on with all that black silicone stuff. Just keep that there, keep them nuts with that. Sort of looks at the bolts to save. Right, now we'll get these ones off, all 8mm. That's a 10. Got a screw up here as well, so we'll get these off now. The casing inside. Always check the teeth on these on the water pump, on the back of the water pump. They're all alright then, so the water pump's alright. And with these bolts like this, different lengths, instead of putting them in cardboard, I'm just going to wrap this up and put it on as well. I'm just about to get the clutch off. Look at that one there. It's all rounded off, chewed and that, so I'll have to get the more grips on that maybe. Bolts and the screws, that's them, that's chewed up. It's got a thing in the middle so it come off alright. Right, now slide the front pressure plate off. I've got this push rod. Way on that should be flat. That's where the ball bearing sits. This is this push rod, a ball bearing, and another push rod on this side. So we'll have to, the ball bearing could be even flat, but we'll check the other side push rod as well when we get it out. Right. Clutch nut. Clutch nut, your little washer there as well. Choose that one. Before I take the clutch basket off, I'm just going to get a penny. This nut comes off anti-clockwise, so we're going to put the penny in between there. In the top, just to lock the cog on the back of the clutch basket and the primary drive to get the nut off, just so there's no pressure being put on your conrod. I'll do the same, put the penny in between these two cogs to take the flywheel nut off as well. So get this nut off now then. That's the crank nut. Another washer. Just that one. Short edge there. So we'll just get the bolts off this side now. That's the key, isn't it? No damage to it. Right, now we'll put that penny in between them two cogs again, just to get the nut off the flywheel. I might have to put it underneath the cogs, but it's one way or the other. I'll find out once I've put it on. That's the bolt off. 14mm. No washers in there or anything. Now we're going to get the flywheel puller on there, where we're on this side. Pull the flywheel off and I'll take the stator out. Then we can go back round to the other side. That's the flywheel puller. It's that one, but when you put it in, it doesn't tighten in, screw in clockwise. Normally you've got to put that in and tighten this bit in anti-clockwise. Like that. So now we'll get the flywheel off, but that spanner keeping that tight. And I'm going to screw this bit in to extract the flywheel out. This is what I normally do. Give that end a shock with a big hammer. That's it. Shot when it gets it off dead easy. It's inside the flywheel. All looks good. Okay, we'll have a look at this stator. Pull that gasket off because I've got new gaskets. Have a look at this stator, where it's marked up to. See if there's any timing marks. It looks like there's damage down there. It looks like something's been grinded off. That screw looks like it's in wonky. Let's get a close up. I don't know what that is there, but that something's been all ground off here. That surface there isn't flat. What the screw's resting on, it's grooved down like that. That might be the timing notch. What the stator has to line up with. I can't see any other more notches on the stator. I'll have a read of the book anyway. What these screws, will get these out. Looks a bit chewed up. So we'll see if we can get them screws out with this big fat end bit. That's that one turning. Bring it back in. So it's taking all the pressure off that one. So if we take that out and that and slack, all the tightness is on here, and with this being rounded off, could be hard to get out. We'll give this a go now. That's that one coming as well. So get these two big screws out and have a look at the stator, see what that thing is on the bottom. That's that one out. I'll have to put new ones in. That's the other one. Get the stator off. Make sure that woodruff key doesn't pop out there. There's the stator. It's as if it's had homemade holes made for this stator. And what's happened there, like, it's been ground here and cut. You can see a screw mark through there, so there must have been a... I'll have to have a look at this in the book. So while it was still on this side, just put that nut back onto the flywheel. Make sure the woodruff key's still in. We'll get the front sprocket off. There'll probably be a bush behind here. Should be. And we'll check behind the bush, see if there's any rubber O-rings behind the bush. Dead slant, that shouldn't be like that. Don't know if it's the sprocket or the shaft what's wore. The sprocket doesn't seem weighed down inside. The shaft. Shaft looks a little bit weird and misshaped and that, but we'll have a closer look when it's split anyway. So now started pulling the clutch plates off. They're all the same, they're metal. There's no knot bumps on the sides like on other bikes where you've got to line them up in sequence. There's no damper ring neither. I don't know if this clutch has a damper ring or not. But there's the plates anyway, so put them there. The push rod's ready to come out. And the ball bearing has just dropped out before. Which is that. So that ball bearing goes in there. I'll just tip it over so that other clutch rod comes out. That's the clutch rod. So where the ball bearing sits, it should be flat. And that's where it sits, the other end. Where the clutch, when you pull your clutch in, the metal bit pushes that. So when that's flat, and that's round. I normally put them back in that way so the ball bearing sit in the flat bit instead of in a round deep groove. What's that little ball bearing? I normally put in the flywheel, and then you know you're not going to lose it. Right, now pull the clutch off in a boss. You've got a spacer here, splined in the middle like teeth. And then when you pull the basket off, always check on the back of the basket for washers stuck on the back of it. Right on there, I don't know if that's a washer. No, it isn't. I don't know if this has a washer on, because there's no washer there neither. But anyway, that's the clutch. No damage to it. No free play neither. Pull this primary drive off, just slides off. Only going one way. I'll just pull this woodruff key out, then we can get the big crank bush out from behind it as well. See if I can grip it. That's the bush. And going either way, it's both the same at the same side. And that's the woodruff key out the end of the crank. So put that woodruff key in the flywheel as well. And I'll put that nut back on there, will come off the crank of the primary drive. And I'll put that nut, will come back on there off the clutch. So now we're going to get the gear shaft out. First, we'll have to get the gear stick off. That's why it's wanting a new gear shaft. So we'll get that 8mm off. So that's the gear shaft. So we'll just pull it through now. See all that would damage the seal on the other side, and the lad forgot to buy seals, but I've ordered some seals. But the gear shaft that's come is ordered for 97, and all the bits for 93, up to 2001 are the same. This gear shaft, it's got no, it's just all flat, it's got no grooves in for the circlips or nothing. I'm just looking around for it. There's the shaft what's come, which is even different in length. This one what's come's got that sticking out the end. The proper one hasn't. If you look at the lengths, from there to there when they're lined up, this one's bigger, so they've sent the wrong one out. Because there's no, see, you've got a circlip there. Even on the part diagram I showed the lad last night, you can see on this shaft there's grooves down there, and this shaft hasn't got grooves for the circlips. I'll get the kickstart iron off. There might be a little washer on each end. And that, straighten that up. Then we pull this off. There's one washer, dead thin. There's the idler cock. There's the other washer from the back of it. Just checking the teeth. All on that side's all flat. You can see all round here is flat. When you look on there, on the left of all the points, on the left of all the teeth, either they're meant to be like that, or the wane, or the ward. So it just looks like they're meant to be like that. So that, I'll have to have a look in the manual. So that, find out which way that goes. Goes that way or that way. If it has to go in a certain way anyway, there's the two washers with that, one on the front and one on the back. When you take it off, kickstart shaft, just pull on that spring there, and it just pops out. That's there, nothing there. I'll put the bolts down there, I'll put the bolt back in there. I'll just take the reeds off. It's just 4 bolts. That's the reeds. Checking them between the black in the middle and the 2 petals on each end. Hold that up to the light, and if there's a gap in between them, they need changed. So we'll go up to the light there now. It's a tiny little gap on the top petal, but I think it's just dust. You can just see it's just along there, but I'll clean them anyway. There's the inlet. Let's check them for cracks. Splits on the rubber bit here. That's good, that. So put that with that. It's everything on this side. After the reeds is out, just turn it round. All these gear screws. Get all them. Someone's chance to be wrong with that one's wrong with that is. Get this one out. The one here. So we'll get all them out. Gear splitter on. And always pull from this side, from the flywheel side. So that's all the bolts slackened. I've made another one of these things, so like, see for them 2 there, Do them two here. Got this square one there, which should be that one there. Anyway, I'll get them all out and put them in. That's them all in now. I'm just going to put this somewhere safe. So we'll get the crank splitter on now. Pull this casing off. So that's the splitter on now. Just going to turn it around so I can see it splitting. Just tighten that in to extract it. Always have a rubber mallet to tap on the back shaft for the front sprocket, because they're normally tight there at the back where that mount is as well, because there's normally like a metal rod goes through on some of them where the swing arm bolt goes through. Anyway, we'll get it off now. When you are splitting it round at that, and make sure that them aren't like that. Make sure the points, see the slots behind in the casing like that, so the slots can fit through. You might have to tap that with a rubber mallet as well. Right, so we're going to start now. That's it, that. When you hear that click noise, it always clicks from the front first. If you can see on the gap at the top of the reeds, the back's still flat. When you tap the back sprocket, see, and it's opened it. So you just got to keep doing that. If not, you're going to bend all the cases if you don't bang the back end. Just keep tapping the back. That's it, slap there. I'm doing it with my fingers now, just it's off camera. Now I won't lift that case off. It's like a washer drop there when I pulled that back. Yeah, that's the casing. Crank there is all good. That's the big washer heard drop. When I split the case there, so I'm going to have to see where that come from, but it's probably come off there. Now we'll have an inspection of the gears and that, take them out. That's the cases. Get the crank out. There's the selector forks. They're all good, them two. And that's the centre one as well. That's alright. And that's the gearbox. Check all the cogs. They slide okay. Got them square dogs, them what when you slide that up, you slide up into there to engage that cog, but if they're rounded off, that cog just jumps over them. Instead of locking like that, it'll just jump over and jump out of gear till it goes back round, or it goes in again. And then if the top's rounded, it just skims down there and jumps out of gear. If you've got a bike jumping out of gear, it could be them ones, could be them ones. This is the other side. They're all good on that side as well. Check all the cogs. Just put that bolt back on to protect them fine threads. And that's where that big washer goes, what dropped out when I split the cases. There's the end. When I took the front sprocket off, I said I was going to have a closer look. I don't know if it's weird or not, you can't really tell. Might just be the sprocket. You can see the sprocket weighing before this weighs. Shift drum's all alright. Check for smoothness in there, any sharp edges. When you weigh around them, there, it's all good. That's neutral. The one that hasn't got the point. Primary drive, I've probably already showed that. Now I'm going to get the crank out that side of the casing. It might just tap out. I might have to get the puller on, but it doesn't matter anyway because I'm putting new main bearings in. See that nut back off what I put on before. And the washer. Just tap straight out. I took the woodruff key out and put that in the flywheel with the clutch ball bearing. I'll just put that washer back on there with the nut just to protect them threads. That's the casing. Crank area is alright. One groove there, but that's nothing. Just give it a quick wipe just in case. And that's it there, there's no damage to that. See if there's damage here where it looks like where somebody's been trying to put a chisel down there to split the cases to get the crank out. I'll be taking that main bearing out. I've got them up there, the new ones. And that's that case as well. Putting that new crank seal in. And gearbox seal, gearshaft seal, front sprocket seal. I'll have to order all these. And they're that's the pack of bearings what's come. And it just looks like it's got one main bearing in. And that's the gearbox bearings, that one, that one, that one, and that one. So he hasn't ordered the main bearings, I don't think. Then for the back wheel, put their back wheel bearings, a CR. Says it's got a CR back wheel on. I would have put them in. So it's going to need crank bearings, seal kit. The barrel is a 47.54, I think it is. I don't even think they go up to that big, so the barrel might need re-sleeved. The stator isn't the proper one, so I don't know how I would set the timing up on that with it being what it is. And it needs the proper gear selector shaft as well, same as this one. That's the wrong one. That they've listed it as a, when he's ordered it, they've listed it as a YZ80 1997, but it's nowhere near. It's not a 1997 YZ one. That don't know what that's off. It could be off a YZ85. We'll need one of them as well. I'm just going to wrap all these parts up. So that's all the bits wrapped up now. Just don't contact the lad tomorrow and tell him what it's going to be needing, because it needs quite a bit. Anyway, thanks for watching.